So today I have with me my dad on a very special Behind the Helmet episode. And today we're going to sit down and talk a little bit about racing. How's it going, Dad?
Good. Going real well.
So let's just start off where you were born and raised and how it was back in that time.
Well, I was born near Fredericksburg, Iowa, on a farm. Did chores and just the normal farm stuff. Cultivate corn and haul manure. And
Yeah, what year were you born in?
1955.
1955, so you were a teenager growing up in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
That had to have been a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it was not a whole lot of work with fork and shovel. Not a lot of augers, not a lot of barn cleaners. We milked cattle, about 40 head of cattle. Had 20, 25 brood sows and did some feeder pigs. And yeah, it was a nice childhood.
Yeah. What was Grandpa, how much did he own back in the heyday of his?
He was up to about 240 acres at one point in time. And then in the mid-'80s, he had sold a 40, and then he kept the rest of it. Till just about day he died. So.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I don't remember the hogs. It was just mainly the milk cows is what he was into.
Yeah. When you my second family, I've got a daughter that's a lot older than my last three kids, and when you guys were coming out there, all Dad did was just milk cows.
Yeah.
And maybe little beef stuff,
I remember
the hogs were gone.
Yeah, I remember chickens out there.
Chickens and ducks, and we had the
peacock. You don't see those very often anymore.
Yeah, and geese.
Yeah,
geese. Dad would get a little worked up about the geese because geese like to chase kids.
Yeah, they chased me one day. I remember when I was really little.
Yeah, he'd grab them around the neck and give them a toss. The geese, not the kids.
So in the mid-'80s, Grandpa struggled a little bit with the farm.
Yeah, it was kind of a deal. Land prices went up, and kind of living on kind of like what it's doing right now between the land prices. 10 years ago, it was like $1,600-$1,700 an acre, and it's $10,000 an acre now.
Yeah.
And when Dad was buying places, he was spending $80 to $100 an acre, and then the inflation and everything. We struggled there. Dad struggled for a little while. I had to get rid of 40 acres, and just one of them deals.
Yeah.
Lived through it. So.
Yeah. There's one interesting fact that you told me when I was little that you guys never had an indoor bathroom.
Oh yeah.
When you were little, you were doing the outhouse thing.
Yeah. Actually, we didn't have an indoor bathroom until my oldest sister got married. She got married. Yep. 1969, we got our first indoor bathroom. Got a bath, tub, and a shower. Before that, we took our baths in a tub, oval tub, in the kitchen.
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen. Because there was no bathroom.
Yeah.
No laundry room. You kids remember the bathroom, laundry room?
Yep.
That was all outside. There was a door there.
Yeah. You could tell it was built on.
Yeah.
So how'd you heat up the water?
On the stove.
You heat it up in a pot and then poured it in?
Yeah, big kettles, yeah. You didn't take a bath very often. You just kind of did a wash off, and baths were not very common.
So now everybody's got a public school they go to in their district. Can you tell? I know Grandma was a teacher in a one-room school for a little while.
A lot of years ago, when Mom and Dad first met, she was a teacher in I don't know which school she was at. I never asked her that, but she was a teacher in a one-room school, yeah.
So you went to a one-room schoolhouse?
No, I was actually the first year of the Fredericksburg Elementary School.
Okay.
My sisters all went to a one-room schoolhouse that was, it's actually a house now about a mile from Mom and Dad's place, and a body shop. Guy owns that. And he made the schoolhouse into a house and built a shed, and he had a body shop there, and kind of a neighborhood body man. So.
Yeah. So what was school like back then? What was school like back then between the farm, trying to keep up with the farm chores, and then if you were in any sports or anything?
Well, like for my case, the only sports I could be in was basketball, because in the fall of the year we had crops to take out, spring of the year we had crops to put in, so in the winter I had the opportunity to play basketball, so I played basketball for 4 years. You gotta realize Fredericksburg is a small school. I lettered all 4 of my high school years. It was fun. So.
Yeah. So you grew up on the farm, and then you took to mechanic. When did you start getting into fixing cars?
Well, I tell you, I was about, I don't know what age I was. There was 2 things. My Uncle Ed had a 1959 Mercury convertible. I just fell in love with the car. And, you never seen a convertible around. I mean, you hardly ever seen a convertible. This thing was beautiful red and white. Had a 392 in it, a V8. It was just a doll is what it was. So that's, that was kind of the inkling of the start. I had to be 11, 12, somewhere right in there. And then, between pulling around with farm trucks and stuff like that, I had my junior year, I had a project in Volk Ag to do a valve job on my dad's ton international truck. That was kind of fun, learning experience. And then of course, money was pretty tight, real tight, and I wasn't going to get a car unless I could come up with some money. The folks kind of relaxed about that later on, but my first car I had to buy myself. I paid $25 for it, and it's a Buick Special, 62 Buick Special, V6 in it that didn't run. And if I wanted that car and could get it running, then that was my car. That was my first car.
Do you remember what year that was in?
Christ, I was 15 when I bought it, so.
Whatever the math is.
Yeah, whatever the math is, yeah. So, because I wanted to have a car when I turned 16.
Yep.
And,
was there a license rule back then? Was it still, you had to be 16 to drive?
Yeah, you could get a work or a school permit, I think at 14.
Yeah, that's the way it is now.
Yeah, I think 15 maybe. But you went to the schools in my day, they had old beaters. You go to a school this day and age, and everybody's got or 2-year-old cars. Oh.
Even when I was going to school in 06, 05, people still were kind of driving the beaters. You can see a nice one every once in a while, but ain't nothing like what it is now.
Yeah, I don't know I got my own theories on it. I think the parents just don't want the cars to break down.
Or there's so many of them that.
Yeah.
There's so many used ones that the parents probably right.
And people are making more money now. When I started working out off the farm, when I started working, helping neighbors out, I got paid 50 cents an hour, and to bale hay in the hay mow. It was a neighbor thing. We had 6 different neighbors that we all kind of went together. And then I'd pick up ear corn, because in that day and age they didn't have mounted pickers. You had to drive through a field with a pull-type picker, and they'd knock 2 rows of corn down. Well, then we'd do that, pick the ears off of the corn that was laid down, and get somebody to haul it to town, and then we got to keep half the money.
Yeah.
And the other half went to the guy that owned the corn. So that was kind of the way. And I mean, there was little ways to make a little bit of money, but we
Well,
didn't.
50 cents an hour, that was probably good money back then.
Well, for a kid it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back to my dad, and he earned $1 all day, farming out, working for a farmer. Pick corn by hand.
All day? That was total?
All day, $1 all day. But you get 11 gallons of gas for $1 too.
Yeah.
So it all kind of plays the game. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know the thing is, I don't know. I try and let you kids break down a few times, so you know what's going on.
I definitely done my fair share of breaking down.
Exactly. So, my wild child.
So for the younger people that don't really know, was everything black and white back then, or did anything come into color about in the 70s, 80s?
It was actually mid to late 60s, I believe. We didn't have a color TV until, oh Christ, it must have been late 60s, I suppose. About when we got the inside bathroom, you know.
So,
and we weren't the only one not having an inside bathroom. Everybody.
Yeah. Well,
everybody.
Out in the country, they probably had one in town, didn't they?
Oh yeah. Town people had bathrooms.
Yeah. Country.
They had showers and everything.
Yeah. Country, that was you know, everything was way smaller back then. It wasn't everything.
The average farm was 160 acres, maybe 200. There was a couple big farmers that was 400, 450 acres, but now it's in the thousands, you know.
Yeah. So you got into working on your car to get it running.
Yeah, the Buick Special.
Yep.
She was a doll, I tell
Yeah.
you.
What?
4-door.
4-door.
Oh yeah.
Super Bolt.
No, it was about the size of a about the size of a 4-door Cavalier this day and age.
Really?
Tiny little thing.
Jesus.
But you could hold 6 people in there.
Yeah. Did you get into a lot of trouble with it?
I had my share. Everybody knew who I was.
Yeah. So you get a little bit older, and I know you went from the Buick, and then you started.
Then I bought from the Buick Special. I ended up with a '68 Plymouth Fury. Right after that, that was the one car Mom and Dad gave me. It was their old beater that I throw away, and it wasn't in very good shape.
Yeah.
You know, in them days, if you had 100,000 miles on a car, it was about wore out.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I had that for just a couple months until I started destroying it. You get some of it from me, Zach. So. Then I went and bought me another. You know, they were a little worked up about me tearing their car up, so so I went and bought a '65 Buick Grand Sport 401 nailhead engine in it. Nice car, fast. Wished I still had it to this day,
Yeah.
but there were so many of them cars out there in the mid '60s and late '60s that at one point in time I had 11 or 12 Roadrunners sitting in the Grove.
Really?
Yeah, junk cars.
Wow.
Anybody that wanted to get rid of a car, they just give me a call, and I'd give them $50 for it, and we'd drag it, put it in the Grove,
Yeah.
rob parts off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you try to Frankenstein anything together?
No, just basically it was just I'd get them and sell parts, and
Yeah.
you know, if I needed, because I was a Chrysler guy, so if I needed parts, you know, I had parts. Anybody that had a Chrysler car would get a hold of me, and I'd probably buy it from them. You know?
So you were like an amateur junker kind of back in there.
Yeah, Dad thought I was a junk man, you know.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't know if you want to talk about this, but you guys used to drag race out on the streets.
Oh yeah.
And you were telling me one time back in the day, you guys ended up having an accident.
Yeah, we hurt a guy pretty bad. So hopefully the yeah, it was a bad deal. It was a bad deal.
And
he was in Rochester 6 or 8 months, broken back. He totaled a 69 Nova.
yeah.
69 Nova hit him and had to put a front clip on it.
How did it happen?
Well, there was me and another guy was racing out north of Fredericksburg on the Lawler Blacktop was one of the quarter miles, and south of Fredericksburg headed towards Pole was the other quarter mile. Everybody knew it was there, you know. And Sunday nights was a big thing. He had nothing else better to do, so we'd just kind of get 4 or 5 or 6 people together and do a little drag racing, you know.
Yeah.
So me and another kid that had a dart just like mine was racing, and well, I had a 70 dart that when I graduated I had that. But anyway, we both had darts. He actually was in school with me in my same grade, and we were drag racing, and this guy was standing with, for better words, a flashlight like you see in the movies.
Yeah.
Turn the flashlight on, away you go. Well, this other kid that was waiting to race the next 2 decided he was going to take off, and he hit the kid that was flagging.
Yeah.
And threw him like 300 or 400 or 500 feet into a field. It was a bad deal. I had to go into town and get the ambulance.
But he made it, right?
Yeah, he made it. He's doing all right. I haven't seen him for years, but he's doing all right as far as I know.
Yeah. What was his name? You know?
I don't really want to say his name. You know, so it's a kid that was a couple years older than me in high school. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say any of the guys' names because
Well, I didn't know maybe if they were watching this, maybe getting in touch or.
Well, if them guys are watching, they'll know who it is, and
Yeah.
they know how to get a hold of me if I'm still friends with them.
Yeah. So after the accident, did you? I know you got into drag racing there for a while. Why don't you tell me how you got started with that and how that went?
Okay. Actually, we got started drag racing.
Professionally drag racing down at the strip.
Well, it never was really professional, but we went down all the time. Earned a little money. It was kind of fun. I had a national record with my dart there for a couple of years, and that was kind of fun, you know. So, but
how do they figure that?
Well, you make a pass. You got to make at that point in time. You had to make 3 passes quicker than the national record at the time, and I was like 2 or 3 thousandths faster.
Yeah.
And then after every 3 months or the next year or something, I had to redo it again. So I had the national record for that particular class for just about 2 years, and another guy bumped me out.
Yeah.
It was fun, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What were you running?
Oh, my 70 dart swinger, 340.
Yeah.
Drive it down there, bolt slicks on, and race.
Oh, you were running slicks.
Oh yeah.
What class were you in?
It was J optional automatic. That was AHRA, not NHRA. It's a different franchise, I guess. So then they went to NHRA down there. And then now, I think now all they do is they do some pro stuff. I was down there last spring, I guess it was. Last fall. A friend of mine that I kind of grew up with had a Dodge pickup that he put the motor behind the cab, and he went down and he run 1/8 mile in under 8 seconds. That's fast.
Yeah, that's quick.
That's fast. First time out with a truck.
Yeah. So how long did you do the drag racing thing for?
I started in like 1972 or 71, kind of on the street, and go down occasionally to the drag strip. And then after I got the dart, we did it real often. And then the course of my oldest daughter, when I was married the first time, we was down there every week, you know, and racing. I did that weekly for probably about 5 years. Then it went a little less, and little less, and little less, and
You were married at that time?
for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
So
When
I started before I got married, and ended after I got divorced the first time. So
yeah. So you went from drag racing, you kind of wheeled off. Then what was life like for you in between that?
it was just it was fun. I did some engine swaps in my garage, and still played with a. I worked in every gas station in Fredericksburg, and I was playing with a couple El Caminos. A guy was drag stripping it, and we did a 75 GTO, Pontiac Venture GTO, and I played with that stuff, drag racing with that for them, and kind of. Then I'd take my stuff down every now and then, but
Yeah.
it was more fun to work on their stuff than
Yeah.
drag racing. You just work on it once and
Yeah. check
check the oil and change oil, and it ain't really nothing to it. Make sure everything's tuned right,
So your passion is more playing with them all the time.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's why I'm still doing it at 63 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody and their uncle who knows me knows that I'm messing with a car all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So then you started getting into circle race.
Yeah.
Circle driving. How'd you?
that was kind of an interesting deal. I was divorced and then actually run into your mother, and so we did. Her dad was into circle track racing, and her brother. So I was kind of playing with their stuff, And then we went to. I did a couple enduros, which was a 2-hour deal, and you went out there and just went in circles. And if you broke down, you sat there, and it was fun. Do a couple of them, but
You never got into figure eights, did you?
no, I don't like wrecking cars.
Yeah.
Right, to me, figure eights and demolition derby, them guys don't.
Yeah.
They evidently don't like their car because they're wrecking them all the time.
Yeah. So you like the setup. You like playing with the setup and making things work a lot better and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah, no. Like playing with I really like messing with engines, I try and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them. I'm a lot better with the older stuff than what I am with the younger stuff, or the newer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not really into the fuel injection and all that stuff, the computers and stuff. But
You like the mechanical, just the mechanical
yeah,
work.
give me a carburetor and a distributor, and I'm in seventh heaven.
Yeah.
Instead of headers. Headers are good too.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, me and your mother went to watch a race in West Union. It was, and I don't know if she remembers or not, but we went over there, and this guy from Cresco. I'm a Chrysler guy, always have been, and as far as racing and everything, I've had other vehicles, but as far as my passion is Chryslers. And there was a guy, Owen Grooves, who it was, from Cresco. And I'm dropping his name,
drop.
I guess. But he had a Challenger, 70 or 71 Challenger, and he was doing circle track with it. And that thing ran terrible. It was popping and banging. Just made me sick.
Yeah.
So I turned and looked to your mother, and I says, I make that son of a bitch run better. So the next year I put together a Dart Sport, took my drag race motor, put in the Dart Sport. There was 80 some cars, I think. There was 80 some hobby stocks that first year that I was in it, and I think I was in the top 10 most of the year with my damn old Chrysler that nobody liked to see do anything with, So,
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, back in those days, it was the A feature, B feature, the C feature.
D feature.
Yeah, like there was
And
so
you
many
could
cars.
advance from feature to feature. You could actually gain points. There was a guy that was really good at it in Decorah. He won championships several times, and he was really good. If he was close in points to somebody, he'd actually go to the C feature.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to name drop that guy?
Uh,
Maybe?
maybe not. his boy is still racing it to this day.
I think I know what you're talking
So,
about.
and his boy's a good shoe too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
there's just not the level. It seems like there's not as many people driving, and like you see these cars like this, they're all pretty fancy, got a lot of money in them for money wise. You don't see a lot of those old beaters out with 80 some cars there.
Yeah, it got really expensive real fast. There was and it's like anything, it just evolved, My first car I put together, I had the engine already. I put together for $150.
Oh, really?
The car got gave to me, City Salvage. Dave Trower gave me the car.
Okay. Yeah, Dave, is that Archie's?
Archie's and Tony's dad, yeah. I think he's still alive, living in Jessup, I believe. So.
Okay.
But yeah, he gave me the Dart, and I wished I had that car. It was a 318 3-speed Dart, not an inch of rust on it.
Well, would you ever imagine back in those days with seeing them all over the streets that they'd be as valuable as what they are now?
The old street cars, you mean, or what?
Yeah.
No, because like I said, I had 11 of them Roadrunners in the Grove. You could buy them for dime a dozen. It's unreal.
They're crazy.
SS cars. I had some SS cars in the Grove. Buy them for nothing.
Yeah. Some of those cars that you had in the Grove are probably going for $200,000 right now.
Well, some of them Roadrunners, I had a couple 440 Roadrunners that would be worth, if they were in good shape, they'd be worth $70,000.
Well, your old Coronet that's about the only car you about saved.
Yep, I still got that. It's
not in mint condition or nothing, but it's still nice to go and look at every once in a while.
Yeah,
it could be restored.
Oh, it's in pretty good shape. I pulled the motor out of it and stuff. Yeah, it's in pretty good shape, man. It needs to be gone through again.
Yeah. So why racing?
Why racing
and not like golfing or boating?
Adrenaline.
The competition. You thrive for the competition.
Yeah, adrenaline. It's the best drug in the world, adrenaline.
Beating somebody else that's got the same under the same restrictions is probably like fighting.
Anybody that's drove a competitive race car knows exactly what I mean. It's an adrenaline rush, and it started when I was drag racing on the streets in Fredericksburg. When you do 110 mile an hour down Main Street of Fredericksburg with another car beside you, it's a rush. Hoping nobody comes out.
You either got it or you don't got it. It's either in you or not.
Yeah.
So. But for this is kind of a question: is how do you define success? So how do you define success?
Friends. You got to have a lot of friends if you're successful. I hope I got a few anyway. Seems like every time I go someplace, somebody wants to stop and talk to me. So there was a time I was probably pretty ornery, but I think I got quite a bunch of friends that, and that's you get friends and family. You get your kids growed up, and hopefully they turn out better than you, and friends and family. That's all there is to it. That's what you put on this earth for, and racing.
Yeah. So that's how do you define success on the racetrack? Is it
try and be competitive every week as good as you can? Go to the racetrack ready to go. These guys that are working on the car when they first pull into the racetrack. Races are if you talk to anybody that's real competitive, that's done a lot of winning, it's all done in the garage at home.
Yeah.
You go to the racetrack and just have a good night.
Yeah.
There's times where you get wrecked or this or that happens, but it's all the stuff done at home.
So you win or lose during the week.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
You grew up, or you were racing in the 80s and 90s, right? Circle track?
86 is when I started. 86 or 87, I believe.
Through the 90s and up till about early 2000s.
Yeah, I think 2000 or 2001 is when I quit actually racing myself.
And you didn't, you made do with what you had. You didn't have a whole lot of money in a race car. You did your fair share of winning. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to toot my horn, but we had a pretty good car the last little bit of our career. It turned people's heads. I mean, you'd pull into Independence and you'd pull into Decorah and you'd pull into West Union and Cresco. And when they turn and look at you and say, oh, he's here, you know,
yeah,
that shows that.
Respect.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of pride myself on being kind of a clean driver. And I try and instill that on you guys.
Yeah, I don't ever remember you being dirty or the people that were mad at you were just mad at you because you were faster.
Yeah, pretty much. They didn't like to get beat by Chrysler car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tooting that horn too much probably, but there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, it is what it is. Everybody's running a Chevy, and the people that are making the Fords work and the Chevys work, a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a Chevy-oriented society, race society. It's all Chevrolet, but that's okay too. Somebody's got to upset the cart.
Yeah. So you did your, you and Mom got divorced when we were young, and then you took a job over in Waukon, Iowa, and then you got hooked up with Jake Sweeney and that racing crew.
Yep.
You want to talk a little bit about building race cars out of Jake's garage and the success you had doing that?
Yeah, yeah. We when I moved over there, I took my race car over there and tried to find a place to put it, and I had it in Troy Hansmeyer's garage there for a while, and then he got divorced, and then Jake Sweeney ended up getting in contact with me over there, and we took my car down to his place, and one thing led to another, and we started building cars, and there's just 4 race cars that I worked on all the time. And then we built race cars for guys over in Wisconsin and a couple guys in Minnesota. And we'd get 2 or 3 a year. It was fun. It was fun. It was me and Donnie Bresnahan and Jake. And Donnie did the welding and I cut pipe and stuff. And then when it come to time Jake had the shop and he had some of the benders and the tools. And when it come time to put it together, that was kind of my job. Put it together, get it running, and scale it.
A lot of feature wins came out of that garage.
Yeah, I got a couple, 3 guys with championships over there. A lot of seconds and points during the year. You know, had a guy with championship in Dubuque down there. One of the cars that we worked on there, and it was fun.
That was a really successful era for the racing career, if you want to put it in those terms.
Yeah, it was. We had some real good years over there. We had some good stuff too. I mean, we put together some pretty good stuff and had maybe a little better stuff than I didn't, because Jake told me one time, he says, I never ever thought I'd have a Dodge car sitting in my garage. So
Jake was a big Chevy guy, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah, Chevy and Ford.
So Jake was the Chevy guy, Donnie was the Ford guy, and you were the
Chrysler
Dodge.
guy. Yeah, he said that more than once. He said, I never ever thought I'd have a Dodge car in my garage. So, but it worked out good,
Yeah.
I did a lot of work for him with his late model and his race cars, and it was fun, really fun.
Yeah, I remember.
And a lot of partying too. So
yeah,
that was part of it.
I remember going over there when we were younger or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a good time for kids too.
Yeah, Beth really took you guys under her wing, and we ate supper out there a lot, trampoline.
Yep. They had 2 kids of their own.
Yep.
So it was just a good time.
It's a family deal.
Yeah, it was. So then after that whole stint went through, then you ended up coming back this way. You took a job over in Charles City
Yep.
And then you moved back to Ionia. Ultimately, you bought a house here and built this garage. And then when Brian was in high school, you bought a stock car that you were gonna run.
Yeah, I think that was about the time I had my heart attack, I think. And I had my heart attack in February, and Brian was actually doing some Hornet stuff. And the Hornet car that he bought and paid for himself, and it was getting wore out. And I needed to get out and do something. So I got a hold of Chris Denner, Cole's dad. He had a stock car for sale. So I went over and I bought the stock car, just a roller, and caught grief from a lot of people that I threw Brian in it right away. It got me doing stuff, and I drove it one time.
Well, you couldn't do it because you had the heart attack. It was originally you were going to drive it.
Yes.
And then you had the big heart attack scare.
Yeah.
And then the doctor said you couldn't race no more.
At that time. I'm better now.
Yeah, we'll see. So
I'm not going to give anything out, but we'll see what happens like in September or something.
Yeah. So then you couldn't race. So Brian was getting into the Hornet cars, and that was just like the perfect opportunity at the perfect time when everything came together. Whereas you couldn't race no more. So Brian
jumped in, and it just worked out good. Got me doing stuff. Got this garage built. The first year we worked on that stock car. We had to make sure it wasn't raining out because it was wetter inside the garage than outside the garage.
Yep, I came over here one time with that old garage, and in the middle of winter, and there was a huge ice slab on the ground. And I was like, what in the fuck are you guys doing?
Cars.
Yeah, I was like, it's
cold,
freezing out here in overalls, stocking cat on.
This is heaven here.
Yeah. So Brian starts racing, and you kind of turn into the crew chief.
Yeah, I'm the dad, yeah.
Yeah, and then Brian started having a lot of success. He went from the stock car, which was really good learning experience for him, then he jumped into a B-mod.
Yep.
And basically started winning from year one.
The second night into B-mod, he won his first feature.
Yeah.
So,
you want to talk a little bit more about that?
I can talk a little bit about Brian's career. Well, I can't leave yours out, though. You raced for several years.
Yeah, but that's later on.
Okay. So, yeah, Brian's had a pretty good career. Started with his stock car, and the first year in the stock car, he had a pretty good year. The second year, we struggled. Tried a different engine combination, which Brian didn't like. The car couldn't accept the kind of horsepower that we were trying to put in it. And so then he decided he was going to buy a B-mod, and I'd never worked on one before. So we went and looked at one up in Decorah, and he ended up buying it. And it was an opportunity to run a real low budget engine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of winning, but to tell you, we're pretty low budget here. I mean, we spend the money where we need to spend the money.
Well, that's the thing where B-mod, what it is today, is not what it used to be.
No.
It seems like B-mod today is more A-mod-ish.
Oh yeah. There's a lot more technology. It's like anything else. It evolved. Like the hobby cars, they evolved from a $150 car to an $8,000 car.
Yeah.
Stock cars was a $1,500 car, and they're a $14,000 car.
Yeah.
Same way with the B-mod. You could buy them B-mods. They were actually residue from the old A-mod days, the two-link cars, and everybody got rid of their two-link cars, went to the four-link, and then they started this Econo class up, which was a B-mod. And then they had an engine rule, and you could only run a two-link. Well, then pretty soon that evolved, and now we got guys running, I'm just guessing, $7,500, $8,000. They're running brand new B-mods, brand spanking new. out of some pretty good builders, and they're probably. I know I was when Brian got his double championship win in 2012. I talked to a guy about getting him a new car, new Rage car, and he thought we ought to buy one at current price, and it was $12,000 for the roller at that point in time. And it's more than that now.
$12,000 is not a small chunk of change.
No,
even
big
today.
money.
Yeah, that's minus motor, minus suspension. That's just with the new technology built.
Yeah. So that's how the B mods evolved, and it's now they're putting late model stuff in them. They're putting late model trannies. They're putting quick change rear ends. That's all late model stuff. They're trying to find a market for the old late model stuff so that the late models can get newer and better stuff.
Yeah.
That's the way racing is.
Where do you think the future is going with that kind of stuff? Do you think they're gonna go so far high and then bring it back down and then go high again? Do you think it's a revolving door?
That's a good question. I don't know what it's going to actually do. I do know that I talked to a guy just the other day, and the metric Chevrolet, the G bodies, I think they call them, they're starting to build aftermarket chassis for them because the point where there ain't no chassis around, frames anymore. So they did that with the 68, 72 Chevelle studs. AFCO started building Chevelle stuff that you just welded together. Well, they're starting to do that now. AFCO is starting to do some metric frame stuff. You buy it in a box, you bring it home, put it on a jig, weld it together, and you got yourself a frame.
Yeah.
And then I think it's going to go from there, and then it's going to go to. It'll probably be still steel panels, but it'll be panels that you buy, and you won't be off the car. They'll bend them at a fabricator.
You can't see at some point. I know what they got right now, these Hornet cars, these front-wheel drives. You can't really see a future where these front-wheel drive cars actually take over like a major racing competition. Do you think it's all going to stay rear-wheel drive?
Well, I think a lot of it will stay rear-wheel drive in this area. I don't know what it's going to do in other parts of the United States, but in this area they got them little modified looking things. I don't know. Somebody's going to say, whatever the name of it is.
Mini mods?
Mini mods, yeah, I think is what it is.
I did it for everybody.
I think it's going to go that way with a motorcycle engine. I just wish they were safer. So.
Yeah. Did you see they're making those mini late models now?
Haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, guys down south are making like miniature late models.
Yeah. So I don't know how far it can evolve. I don't think it'll get in the near future to anything that's fuel injected or anything. And I could be could be wrong.
Right.
In the stock cars and the hobbies, I don't think they'll get to that point.
Well, with the dirt track, it's not like with NASCAR or anything.
Well, and you got to bolt computers on it, and there's lots of guys like me that's not that I don't understand them, but that's another chunk of change. Pretty soon.
You got to worry about the mud and the dirt and dust all getting into that. So I think you're right on the nail there.
Vibration, you got them. The ARCA cars 15 years ago down in Cedar Rapids, they had an onboard computer that you went to the racetrack and they handed you the onboard computer so that everybody had the same, because there's a lot of stuff you can do in them computers that really make them go, So.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the problem they're having with the mini mods. I've heard a couple of people talking about the onboard computers. The rev limiters.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on there. There's a place in La Crosse that does some work on them. And, it's unfortunate, but it's just the way racing is, So.
They'll figure it out.
It'll evolve, and then everybody will be doing it, and then it'll be legal. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So, at this age, now reflecting on your life, how do you look back at it?
I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
I wish it was longer. I'm getting old.
Goes by fast.
Yes, it does. Just yesterday I was driving my first race car, you know. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes fast. But
You had a lot of fun, though.
I don't think I'd change. I really don't think I'd change anything that I'd done in the past, because that's who I am now, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, what is life other than to have fun going through it? You know, you don't want to have a miserable life where you're not having no fun.
Right,
so.
right.
This was definitely your passion.
Oh yeah.
I got to see it firsthand growing up through it, and
yeah, you sat in the seat of the race cars
yeah.
a lot. You know, when you were little, jump in there.
Yep.
Yeah, even fall asleep. You and Brian both fall asleep in the race car.
Yeah.
Here's a story I'll tell you between in the car.
Wait a second. Do I gotta edit this out?
No, no. It was quite a deal. Everybody's all worked up. You and I think I was still married to your mother at the time, and you and Brian and Shree. After the races, I mean, it's a big family deal. There's kids all over the place, and you're out playing. You didn't worry. I mean, you went out on the racetrack, this and that. And we were doing our thing, you know, and having our refreshments or whatever, you know, and pretty soon it come time for your mother to go. I think we were still married yet, and then we couldn't find Brian. We found you and Cherie, but we couldn't find Brian. Well, he told me later on how it actually happened, but he was actually sitting in my race car in the seat sleeping with my race suit on, my helmet, and the steering wheel on, and he was sound asleep in there with that helmet on. The only thing holding his head up was the helmet.
Yeah. Well, you guys used to have refreshments late into the night.
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of it, you know.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you got a designated driver though. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays.
Nowadays. Well, yeah. Even then, you should. But
yeah.
A lot of times I'd spend the night in the pits and drive home the next day. You know.
Safer. It's you know, nobody's gonna mess with you down there. So.
And now they kind of frown on that, spending the night in the pits for some reason.
Yeah, they do a real good job about trying to shut the lights off and get everybody out of there, and I don't understand why. You want people to come there and stay there and have a good time. You want people to spend as much time at the track. You think that's just a business move. Yeah. You want people to spend as much time and have as good a time at the track as you can.
There's a lot of, you know, I ain't telling nothing, no secrets. There's a lot of partying that goes on down the pits. We had the kegger one night over there. Some guy had a keg in the back seat of his car, and he just drove from trailer to trailer to trailer until that 16-gallon keg was empty.
Yeah.
You know, it was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, but you know what? Nobody got hurt. Yeah. Everybody that was drinking was still there, you know. So
play hard, work hard, and
have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for sitting down and talking to me.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can do another one sometime.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully, I've been thinking about maybe actually doing one at a racetrack one of these times.
Okay. Yeah, I'm old enough where I got a lot of stories. So
yeah.
You get me talking, sometimes we just go on and on.
Yeah, you still stay up way late enough at the track.
Yes, I do. But that's about the only time anymore, so.
All right, well, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, talk to you later, Zach.
Yep, that's Behind the Helmet.